Voices of Mount Jiri. The wind howled through the skeletal pines of Mount Jiri, their needles clawing at the sky like the skeletal fingers of forgotten gods. The rising sun cast long, menacing shadows across the deserted slopes, painting the landscape in a macabre palette of light and darkness. I, a seasoned mountaineer drawn to the thrill of the unknown, stood at the foot of the mountain, the dire warnings of villagers about bloodthirsty demons and a vengeful spirit that tore lost travelers limb from limb echoing in my ears. Ignoring their pleas, I began my solitary ascent, consumed by an all-encompassing desire to unveil the secrets hidden within the mountain's foreboding peaks. The winding path, once well-worn by miners seeking their fortune, was now lost, overgrown by strangling vines that grasped at my boots like gnarled hands. The silence was broken only by the unsettling rustling of unseen things in the undergrowth and the occasional spine-chilling shriek of a raptor circling high above on thermal winds. The higher I climbed up the crumbling shale slopes, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The very air seemed tainted by the mountain's history, countless slain by rockfall and avalanche, their vengeful spirits absorbed into craggy outcrops. The sunlight barely penetrated the tangled canopy, leaving the forest below cloaked in perpetual gloaming. The skeletal pines grew more twisted as I ascended, warped by the thin soil and battering winds into arthritic silhouettes that loomed over the path. As dusk stained the sky crimson, the mutterings crept from the crevices and caves worn by eons of erosion. At first the susurrations were indistinct, easily dismissed as the wind teasing massive boulders along razor ridges. But as I traversed a narrow defile, the sound clarified into anguished human cries, frantic shrieks of pain coupled with insane cackles of mirth carried on the icy currents flowing from millennia-old glaciers. Panic constricted my chest, urged me to turn back while lingering daylight permitted safe passage. But I was in the grip of an obsession now. Curiosity overcame caution. I clambered on, scrambling over loose scree on a treacherous traverse to arrive gasping at the entrance to a lightless cavern, gaping jaws at the base of towering granite monolith. From those Stygian depths emanated the worst susurrations yet, a chaotic babble of unholy tongues barking vile imprecations. The meaning was clear: no interloper emerges unscathed from this chasm carved into the mountain's black heart. But the warning only strengthened my resolve to discover the source of Mount Jiri's evil repute. Gripping my flashlight, I plunged into the shadows. The narrow passage soon opened into a vast vaulted chamber, floor-strewn with jagged shards of stone which turned underfoot with loud complaint. My light revealed carvings etched into every surface by a craftsman driven by madness, leering faces and figures locked in obscene ritual combat. The rock was infused with streaks of vivid cinnabar, blood-red filaments spreading through the stone like tainted veins. From the rear of chamber came the clatter of falling stones, then a stertorous rumble that shook pebbles from the ceiling. My light probed towards the sound, revealing little but roiling shadows which suggested enormous bulk. Heart hammering, I took one step forward, then another, seeking shape and definition. A sulfuric exhalation enveloped me as my flashlight finally illuminated the chamber's resident. Crouched against the far wall towered a colossal humanoid form seeming wrought from the very bones of the mountain. Loincloth of stitched hide and necklace of finger bones barely clothed its frame. The monstrous thing turned, tiny eyes like chips of coal burning with supernatural foulness above slavering tusks which jutted from a bestial face, the horrific progeny of couplings too vile to imagine. It released a roar which hammered my senses and seemed to shake reality itself. The sound cascaded from the cave, echoing from the peaks in deafening amplification. Briefly I was paralyzed, locked in a fever dream where this monster was somehow my destiny made flesh. Then survival instincts sharpened by a decade of lonely climbs kicked in. I ducked sideways as a granite club larger than my torso smashed crater-like into the spot I had occupied moments before. My light revealed more hominids emerging from the darkness to surround me, bellowing battle frenzy boiled in their small red eyes. Jagged spears made from snapped thigh bones stabbed towards my face. I twisted desperately, losing footing on the unstable surface. A spear grazed my ribs with a white-hot streak of pain before I crashed to the gritty ground. Fighting to control panic, I swept the light in a blinding arc towards my attackers. The creatures fell back, shielding bestial faces with muscled forearms. Seizing the opportunity, I found my feet and bolted for the exit, their enraged roars like physical blows between my shoulder blades. I stumbled from the wounded mountain into pearl light of a risen Carpathian moon. Gasping lungfuls of crisp air, I risked a glance back at the cavern's mouth, expecting to see the normally hidden clan swarming from their lair with murderous intent, but there was only silence. Gradually my galloping heart settled as rational explanations suggested themselves, the thin air at this altitude sparking realistic hallucinations from a weary mind, or perhaps I had stumbled onto a forgotten community of inbred creatures better left to their isolation. Daylight found me at the tree line, stiffly bandaging my superficial wounds with torn clothing. Above, Mount Jiri's imposing peak floated serenely, the rising sun burnishing age-old ice fields to silver brilliance. The twisted shapes crowding its slopes now resembled nothing more sinister than the stooped forms of weathered pines. The cries and whispers of the previous night were gone as if they had never existed outside my imaginings. Yet, in unguarded moments I might wonder if more than rock and ice resides up there in those inaccessible high places. Perhaps there are mysteries on the lonely peak that defy reason and wait shrouded in cloud for some bold and curious soul to reveal them once again. I know despite my brush with mortality and the scars I will forever carry, the irresistible draw of the mountaineer calls me back. And I know I will answer it to pit myself against the ancient evil brooding within the bitter fastness of Jiri's fearsome heights. For in some souls the true summit lies not in airy vistas glimpsed briefly before descent, but rather in testing oneself against the oldest powers, and prevailing against unknown horrors that wait patiently to claim us all.